This is how my life as a producer started. I went up to this studio and I said to this guy, look, bruh, I wanna work here. I have a passion for music. I wanna work here just to learn. You don't have to pay me. I just wanna learn.
Okay.
And this guy looked at my little CV that I had put together. It was like a one-pager.
Yeah.
He looked at my birthday and he was like, yo, we share the same birthday. You know what? I'm gonna take you up. This was an Afrikaner man, Emil Brown. Okay? Took me in. The first sound engineer that I started to learn the concept of sound engineering from was a guy that worked for Emil, Marius Swanepoel. And ever since, I mean, for the first 3 months, I wasn't getting paid, but I learned so quick that by the third month, this guy felt the need to start paying me because I could take certain projects on my own by then, you know? And I learned so quick, right? Like, because it was things that I was always thinking about, but never thought that they were possible. You know, I don't know if you've experienced this, but if you're passionate about something, like I remember when I had this little Casio keyboard, and I didn't know anything about sequencers. But in my head, I used to think, I wonder if there was a way that I could record this line, keep it, and then record another line on top of it, and then another instrument on top of that, and then put drums. I used to think about that before I even knew there were sequencers. So when I was introduced to a sequencer, it was more like, here's that thing I was wishing for, you know? Yeah, so that's why I learned quick, because the concepts I had already come up with in my head, and it was just a matter of me learning the equipment that did it. And when I did, like, it was boom, you know, I was ready. And it was before the days of, you know, your computer sequencers. So I started with like the little box sequencers.
Yeah, those ones, yeah.
So when we went to software, like, it was like a piece of cake by then, you know.
Yeah.
So that very same studio, AVA, is where Morafe first album was recorded. We used to sleep at the studio because, you know, we couldn't walk that distance on a daily basis. So there were times over weekends we would just go there, you know, just before they closed for the day. They used to shut down at 5. So between 5 p.m. and 6 a.m. when they open again, that was our time.
Jeez.
So we used to walk that distance, like I said, from here to John Smart's Avenue, right?
Yeah.
Spend the night over, walk back in the morning, go work on another song at my crib. Come late bells, we walk back to the studio. That's how songs like the whole thing, Skarasa was singing, were born. That's around that time, you know. Songs like Kimanyole, you know. And what I loved about that studio was it had 3 isolated booths, right?
Yeah.
And that connected to one control room. So each of us we'd go into your own booth, press record, and we go. That's why that first album, those Morafe songs, it sounds like you can hear everybody's voice from beginning to end. It's not like nowadays that you can hear this guy was on the mic, the first part of the song, then comes the chorus, then second verse is the next guy, third verse is the next guy. But in the first verse, you don't hear those other 2 guys. In the second verse, you don't hear these other 2 guys. And in the last verse, you don't hear those guys. If you listen to songs like The Whole Thing, all 3 of us are on the song from beginning to end. So we wouldn't even stop. Like, each song would be like 4 takes because you would have, you know, everybody would do their verse, right? From beginning to end of the song, and then you would do the double. Back in the days of the double, and then the other 2 takes would be the ad libs. But all 3 of us would be present in the song the whole time. You know, afterwards, you would just come back in, edit what you don't need out in the mix.